we're reading this story. It's a little chilly today. We're on page 109. Is that where we are? Yes. Okay, so we were talking about Gideon, and Gideon, the Lord called Gideon. Gideon was
afraid.
He was afraid. And we see why he was afraid, because we've just read about who just crossed over the Jordan.
All the tribes from the east.
All the eastern peoples, Midianites, Amalekites, and other eastern people, they all joined forces, crossed over, and then camped in the valley of Jezreel. So, now, Gideon said to God, if you will save Israel by my hand, as you have promised. So he's asking God to do it because God has promised that he would. Gideon said, look, I will place a wool fleece on the threshing floor. If there is dew only on the fleece and the ground around it is dry, then I'll know that you'll save Israel by my hand, just as you've said. And that's what happened. And then Gideon rose early the next day. So was that a miracle?
Yes.
Yes, because there's dew on just one little spot, and the rest of the ground is dry. But then Gideon still isn't convinced. He rose early the next day, and he squeezed the fleece. He wrung out the dew, and there was a bowl full of water in it. And Gideon said to God, do not be angry with me. Let me make just one more request. Allow me one more test with the fleece, but this time make the fleece dry and the rest of the ground around it be covered with dew. And that night God did so. Only the fleece was dry. The rest of the ground was covered with dew. So early in the morning,
Is that the exact opposite?
Yes, the opposite. Early in the morning, Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, so that's his name. I guess Jerubbaal is his name in the other culture, maybe. And all his men camped at the spring of Herod. The camp of Midian was north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, you have too many men. I cannot deliver Midian into their hands, or Israel would boast against me. My own strength has saved me, Israel would say. So what is the Lord saying?
He wants Israel to know that he saved them.
Yes, he wants Israel to know it would be God and not them. God said to Gideon, announce to the army, anyone who trembles with fear may turn back and leave Mount Gilead. So 22,000 men left, while 10,000 remained. But the Lord said to Gideon, there are still too many men. So take them down to the water, and I will thin them out for you there. If I say, this one shall go with you, he shall go. But if I say, this one shall not go with you, then he shall not go. So Gideon took the men down to the water, and there the Lord told him, separate those who lap the water with their tongues as dogs. Show me a dog lapping. Yes. From those who kneel down to drink. Now someone who kneels down to drink would do what? Yes.
Cup it.
300 of them drank from their cupped hands, lapping like dogs. No, that doesn't make sense. All the rest got down on their knees to drink. Yeah, I'm not sure that's correct, because if you're lapping like dogs, you're not cupping it with your hands.
I think it means like you're licking it out of your hand.
Could be. I'd have to look in the original Bible just to see. Anyway, the Lord said to Gideon, with the 300 men that lapped, I will save you and give the Midianites into your hands. Let all the others go home. So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites home, but kept the 300, who took over the provisions and the trumpets of the others. So there are only how many men now?
300.
There used to be 32,000. 22,000 left, 10,000 remained, and then he cut that down to 300. Okay, so now the camp of Midian lay below in the valley. During the night, the Lord said to Gideon, get up, go down against the camp, because I'm going to give it into your hands. If you are afraid to attack, then just go down to the camp with your servant Purah and listen to what they are saying, and afterward you will be encouraged to attack the camp. And Gideon was afraid, because he and Purah and his servant went down to the outposts of the camp. The Midianites, the Amalekites, and all the other eastern peoples had settled in the valley. They were thick as locusts. That means there was just so many you just couldn't even count. They were just all over. Their camels could no more be counted than the sand on the seashore.
Whoa.
Many, many of them.
I did not know there were that many camels.
And they only had 300 men. Gideon arrived just as a man was telling a friend his dream. The man said, I had a dream. A round loaf of barley bread came tumbling into the Midian camp. It struck the tent with such force that the tent overturned and collapsed. His friend responded, this can be nothing other than the sword of Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite. Now, why would you think that? Does he even know Gideon?
No.
He said, the man said, God has given the Midianites and the whole camp into his hands.
I mean, like, you could get in trouble for saying that in the camp.
When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed down and worshipped. He returned to the camp of Israel and called out, Get up! The Lord has given the Midianite camp into your hands, dividing the 300 men into 3 companies. He placed trumpets and empty jars in the hands of all of them with torches inside. Okay. Watch me, said Gideon, and follow my lead. When I get to the edge of the camp, do exactly as I do. When I and all who are with me blow our trumpets, then from all around the camp blow yours and shout, For the Lord and for Gideon. I think that's a little funny that he added his own name on there.
For the Lord and for me.
And for Gideon.
I think you just say, and for me.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to stop there. So they divided the 300 men into 3 companies. It doesn't say that it's divided evenly, but likely they did. Likely it was how much in each company?
100.
100 men. They each had trumpets, and they had empty jars with torches. Okay, well, if there was a torch inside the jar, was it an empty jar?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Because
there's a torch in it.
Oh.
But I guess they meant empty of like water or whatever the jar was made for carrying. Okay. We're on page 111, and we're going to stop there, and we'll pick back up probably not tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.